Hey guys, I just want to let you know what happened on the Florida audit tour and how it came about from my perspective. I've got so many emails, texts, phone calls, people have seen me in person, and I've tried to explain it to several people, and most people have told me I thought something along these lines has happened, but you need to talk to the people and let them know what happened because Patrick is slandering your name. He's saying and publishing videos about you. And at first, I I didn't say that they was telling me a story, but I said, really? I mean, like what kind of videos? They said, well, he's taking them down, but some of us record when he's live. He thinks if he takes it down, nobody sees it, but we've got it. And somebody sent me what I thought was a really bad video and false information on me. One should try and correct the record, and an honest man will jump up on the rooftop and shout, innocence, innocence, innocence. And in my own way, that's what I'm doing. This is not a revenge or get even. It's just setting the facts straight. And the people that know me know that I want the facts to be correct. And a lot of people know that Patrick has trouble with the truth. That's well known. Now, maybe because of the way he is, maybe that makes him, in some people's eyes, a good auditor and in others not. And he's kind of stalled out on subscribers because he's begged himself to death. Uh, anyway, don't let me belabor this. Let me just get to the point. The video they sent me, he says that I asked him to crack my back. That's a lie. I never asked him to crack my back. He kept offering. And I said, I see a chiropractor. So he did it against my will. And as he was doing it, I said, stop, stop, stop. Selena even told him stop. And she kept telling me, I told you that wasn't a good idea. I told you it wasn't a good idea. Now, I'm not trying to put Selena in a bad spot to where he'll cause her to say otherwise, okay? I don't want her to be in a bad spot. She's in a tough spot as is, okay? Uh, he didn't tell you the reason that he was, quote, burning up and he was so hot and we had to suffer because he kept monkeying around with the AC and trying to hack the AC till he tore it up in two rooms. And these things I would be willing to take an oath on. I would be willing to take a lie detector or voice stress analysis, whatever. I mean, it doesn't gain me anything. I'm still injured and I about sweat to death because he had to monkey with the controls. So that caused us to have to be in three different rooms. Actually, I was in two. They was going to the third room after he turned up the third AC. And I'm the one that got us moved to a third room while he was sleeping till like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. Uh, he tries to rush out for 2 or 3 hours and gather content late afternoon and stay up all night. You know, it's just the way he is. Now, good or bad, that's just the way he is. And in fact, even after all that, uh, I said, is there anything you might be able to do to help him on a night's stay or something? And so the manager was adjusting the bill. But I suppose if she knew that he had broke 2 air conditioners hacking them, she would probably charge him for the repairs work. And of course, like I say, that's a fact. Um, the donations that he got after people saw me in the car with him skyrocketed, and I don't know what they become finally, but I know they were over $1,000. Okay, plus he had all his YouTube money and tax returns and stuff, and I think was sitting at about, depends on, some things I seen, some things I didn't see. So I was taking his word on some things, because he'd been talking about it for so long. I knew we was somewhere in the neighborhood of $19,000 to $21,000. And so he had, quote, 5,000 slated for this if people didn't come through. But he has his strategy and tactic on e-begging, and he's learned that he can get $500 to $2,000 or $3,000 each time e-begging, because he said some people are just that stupid. I don't think of people stupid. I mean, I wouldn't talk about somebody that gave me money stupid, but he's learned how to use people. Let me go down to the wheelchair. I didn't ask him to buy me a wheelchair. I asked him to rent me a wheelchair for the day. I said, you messed me up so bad. You're responsible and you're accountable for your actions. And I didn't ask you to do this, and you injured me. Then he started saying, you gonna sue me? You gonna sue me? You gonna sue me? You gonna sue me? I said, Patrick, I don't plan to sue you. I mean, you didn't, to my knowledge, on purpose hurt me, but you didn't have my permission to do this, and you did it anyway. I was stretching out to stretch myself out, and I had 33 hours of no sleep. I'd been sleep deprived, and I wasn't thinking straight, but regardless, I didn't ask you to, no matter what. You can tell people that, but that's not the truth. I laid down to stretch out, and you jumped on me and started going, and you did injure me, and you injured me, and you're responsible for it. So I asked him merely, $1,000 had been donated and more money was coming in. I said, can't you just rent me a chair for one day where we can go to the Capitol, and maybe I can get better, and maybe I can go to, a clinic or something. And he said no. And he's the one that was belligerent. He's the one that pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed till some point I stood up for myself, and I got pretty loud and close to his face without touching him to let him know, hey, you have gone beyond the point of no return with me. I'm going to have to get a rental car and go home. So I didn't Uber home. I rented a car. Get the facts straight. There's a difference. Let's see. I wrote me a little list here because these are all the things that people ask me about. And I just didn't want to just keep going over it, over it, over it, over it. Yes, I've been to the doctor. Yes, I got injections in my back. Yes, I got other medications. Yes, I'm under a doctor's care and doctor's treatment. No, I can't go audit right now. Yes, I'm going to go audit again as soon as I can. But this injury he caused me against my will is costing me money. It's costing me time. It's cost me time for my family, time for myself. Yes, I am suffering. Yes, I did not plan to do no video. But once he went to the point of doing a video and attacking me and lying on me, and somebody pointed out, hey, didn't he have some major break or situation with James Friedman? Yeah. And Bow will not audit with him. I said, I don't know about that. And didn't him and Nomad have a breakup? And didn't he have this? There was the guy in Dallas, I can't think of his name, that he was teaming up with, and then he outed him because the man wanted to be private, and he outed him, and then they was off. Trying to think who else he teamed up with. But anyway, the point is, At one time, somebody pointed out that he had teamed up with 5 people, including me, and maybe more, to grow his channel. So he teamed up with everybody he thought would help grow his channel, or he got emails. And people was contacting him constantly, and some of his big donators, they wanted him to go with me and us go to Florida. So he about worried me to death. And talk about blowing somebody's phone up. I call him on rare occasion, but now he's called me up to 10 times in a day. When I left there, he called for like 5 days in a row. I was so upset, so bewildered, so much in pain and suffering, I wouldn't take his calls. And I've got a witness that when he did call me and he was on speakerphone, it's more than one witness, but he said, "You haven't taken any of my calls. I've been calling for days." And I said, "You hurt me." And so he tried to talk himself out of accountability, liability, responsibility, being a decent human being. And he tried to flip the script back on me like it's all my fault and that I asked for this stuff, and I didn't. That's a lie. So when all this happens, this is what he always does. He tries to escape responsibility and accountability for all of his bad behavior and acts. I tried to overlook, you know, different things. And some things I wasn't sure of because I haven't spent hours and hours in a car with him in probably a couple of years or so. And so I thought he had matured some and changed some of his ways, but it's actually gone the other way, downhill. He almost got us in too many accidents to count, in my opinion. And I was scared on the ride down. And he just badgered the crap out of me when I told him, I said, "I want to be able to go to the hotel and go to sleep." Okay? He promised he would. That didn't happen. He promised we'd go straight to the hotel, and he keeps stopping and stopping and stopping and badgering me, okay? So people say, "Why didn't you more engage when he was out there?" I was tired. I was fatigued. I was extremely without sleep because I spent time with my family for Father's Day, and the day before I just hadn't got much sleep at all. Then it just went on, and I was going to try and get a 2 or 3 hour nap before we went after about 27 hours. But the long story short is, the time we could get there was 33 hours. And there's so many and much other stuff. If I was a vengeful man, if I was vindictive, if I was trying to get payback, whatever, there's so much I could say, but I'm not going to because I'm not that kind of guy. I'm the kind of guy that's trying to set the record straight and give you a little bit of background as to what happened. So let me see if there's anything else. Yes, I concluded that the truth ain't in him, and that when people find out about his bad behavior, he tries to get other people to cover up for him or justify what he does, and he sits around and rehearses this. And when he used to get in trouble for stuff, he'd call me all the time and say, "Well, what can I say? How can I fix this?" So he's got about 3 guys he talks to find out how to fix it. Well, I would try and find out the situation and analyze it and tell him, "Well, I would see it this way or that way, or perhaps this or perhaps that," and try and help him out. Okay. But then I find out through various means, being a cop 40 years, you learn things. And I would find out after the fact that it wasn't what he said. He was trying to not tell it straight and figure out a way how to save himself. But I think a lot of people are onto him because they'll tell me, "Well, I'll help you, Chief, but you know, don't I don't subscribe to him anymore. I don't support him anymore," or what have you. and I'll support you and help you, but not him because he did this, this, and this, and this. Well, I'm not going to go into the list of their claims. My claims, I'm willing to give an oath. I'm willing to take a lie detector test. I'm willing to take a polygraph. I'm willing to take sodium pentothal because this is the truth and there's no doubt about it. Now, he'll probably say all sorts of things. And like I said, I never said that to him. That's something he made up. That's a delusion in his head or self-protection mode to insulate himself. Some people, when they see trouble coming, they'll start saying something down here so that when it gets here, then people's in the mindset. Uh, and even after I found out about this video, I did my best to try and stay calm, cool, and collected and say, I'm just not going to respond to this. I'm just not going to respond to it. It's not my style. It's not my way. But at some point, after enough phone calls and visits from people and saying, hey, your reputation is on the line. And if you don't explain it to people, they're going to believe it after a point in time. And I decided they're right. So I studied Proverbs 22:1, Proverbs 22:1 about a man's reputation and how valuable it is. And of course, I've known this always. But sometimes the better thing is to do is to remain silent. In this case, that's not the best thing to do. And in 1 Peter 2:12, 1 Peter 2:12, those are things that I rely upon that the good Lord tells us about our reputation and about being honest and straightforward. Now, if I get more subs, that's fantastic. If I don't, then I'll just live with what's there. If people donate to my future audits, they want to start now, that's fine. If they don't, that's okay too. But when a man says, I need donations to do this, and he does not need them, I think that's fraud. Okay? And if he says the donations are for one thing and he uses them for another, I think that's fraud. When people say, or he causes people to believe he has no money and he can't audit, and you got thousands and thousands of dollars that he wants to brag and show me constantly, and certain other people, he wants to show them on his phone what he's getting because he wants to brag and be boastful about it. And I said, why don't you take that money and audit with it instead of begging people? Because some people are on fixed incomes. Some people don't have that kind of money to give. Now, some people's got a lot of money and they're going to blow it one way or another. And I guess they might as well give it to you as to go down and eat $100 meal, And some people like you, and some people like the way you do things, and they want to give, and they would give no matter what. So just only accept from them because, when you're getting 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 a month, then you can afford to do the audits. I said, if you split it in half and you kept half for your life and your bills off of YouTube, and the other half you did audits, no. The MMFers, they're going to pay for everything. I said, whoa, wait a minute now. You're talking about the people who support you, and you're talking about them like trash. Well, they don't know. Maybe not now, but eventually some already have figured it out, and the rest of them will figure it out. And you will plunge and lose your subs, and your money will go in half, and then your donations will dry up. They're never going to dry up. They pay for everything. I said, Patrick, please use some common sense. I said, you're in since you got all this money and you've been getting this big money for a long time now, you've become bad. You become in another world. You're having delusions of grandeur. And then he'd try and flip on me and say, no, you're psychologically bad, or you're psychologically need help, or whatever. I said, no, 'tis not I that needs the psychological help. I'm not running around lying to people. I'm not running around begging for money when I don't need it. And I don't beg. I tell people there's an opportunity. So once people know that there's a need and it's a legitimate need, and I go and do exactly what I say. And so, I usually get a few $100s in donations, a handful of times. Okay. Now, it's a fact that one man paid to have my truck worked on when he wanted me to go back to Texas. And I said, well, I can't go because of my truck, and I'm just not going to be able to go. And he really wanted me to go. And he paid to have my truck fixed. And I was very blessed. And I even said, I'll get a copy of the receipt and send it to you. Just, because it was a lot of money. It was like close to $1,000. So I was going to scan it off and send it to him. He said, no, I believe you. I said, wow, that's a lot of faith. And then he actually paid some money for some gas in a motel room. I mean, he did a lot, you know, and he was a generous man, but I used it. And then, my son wanted to do some various different things. And he said, don't you have some money? I said, no, the money I have, it's a donation to do this. And I said, uh, they know my family's going with me, son, being you and mother, but I can't spend money for this and that because that's not what it's for. And I said, when people give you money for a certain thing, that's what you have to use it for. You can't live high on the hog, and you can't go places and do stuff. I said, that's fraud. That's lying to people. And I said, when it comes to money, I said, that's fraud. And I said, like PayPal's an institution, a financial type institution. I don't know how they're classified, but I said, if you say, I need money to go here, and then you go there with it, then you've lied to people and you've got money under false pretenses. But, I think one day, uh, whoever the authorities are may wind up auditing him, and they can go back through the paper trail and see where everything went. And then some people are downloading all the videos. So when they got all the videos and then they do an analysis, it ain't going to match up. And then he'll have to explain. But I really think he's going to have to hit rock bottom and go to prison or something before he wakes up. And then I don't know. And I'm trying to look right into the camera. I'm not mad at him. I am frustrated. I am bewildered. I am beyond words that one man could hurt another man and not have no remorse. And I never asked him to pay for my medical bills. Never. Here's what I did. I told him exactly what was going on after 5 days, and I finally cooled off enough I could take his call, and I had my witnesses, and I said, I want y'all to be witnesses because he'll probably say this didn't happen or whatever. And if it ever becomes necessary, I want you to hear it for yourself so you'll be able to testify to it if it ever comes up, which I don't plan on it coming up, but I could change my mind. I said, can you help me with the medical bills from the injury you caused to me? And I wasn't even talking but maybe a couple $100 or something. But in fact, I never even got to mention the amount because he started trying to flip the script like he was out on the street and we was on video and I was some villain. So, either you can believe me or you can believe him. Can't believe both of us. So I leave it up to each man or woman that watches this to decide, am I telling the truth or is he telling the truth? Okay? You have to decide for yourself. Some people said, oh, you should disable comments. No, I'm not going to disable comments. Now, people write filthy, vile, repulsive comments. Yeah, I'll delete it and I'll block them. I always have. Now, some slip through that I don't see, or it sends me a notice, but so many things go on my phone and I clear the phone because it's overloaded. Then I try and go do things and I miss some and then I catch it later. Or somebody tells me and I catch it later. Or I decide that even though it's so strongly worded and even though it's against me, that they have a reasonable purpose to speak their piece and it's not over the top, and I leave it. I believe in free speech, but not necessarily in my house. And when you come into my house, then you have to use some manners, some courtesy, some respect in my home. Okay, if you get into my car or my truck, you have to use some courtesy and some respect. If you're going to come to my channel and make comments, you have to be some decency, some courtesy, and some respect. Okay, so if you come over my channel and say, I hate you and you're a bad man, okay, I'm going to leave it. You know why? Because that's your opinion, that's your free speech, but you haven't personally attacked me. You know, if you come over and talk about my body and try and body shame me, I might leave it, I might not, I don't know. Depends on what else is said. I'm not going to take it out of context like a lot of people. And, you know, if you try and be that funny person that says, I know a good weight loss doctor, you know, people know what you're doing. People understand it. But I got enough people that take up for me that are good, honest, hardworking people or disabled people or veterans that are law enforcement veterans, military veterans, first responders. Uh, I got some people that are atheists that love me because I don't try and shove my religion down their throat. I share it. I tell where I'm coming from and who I am. And people said, you know, the reason I watch even your really, really long videos where you're long winded is because I can see the sincerity in your eyes and hear it in your voice. And I enjoy that freshness. And I said, well, thank you. You know, I just try and do the best I can. I'm no better than the next man. I'm no worse than the next man. I'm just a man, but I am a man. And Genesis 1:26 through 28 says, I'm made in the image of God. That's my understanding. That's my belief, and I stand on it. If you believe you come from some fish out of the ocean and migrated up to be a human being, that's your belief. I respect you in your belief. If you believe in many gods or no gods, I respect your belief. This is just mine. And if you want to share your belief and your difference, you can always get a channel or you can comment down in the comment section, you know, that you have a different religion or whatever. But, you know, when you say things like, your belief is a fairy tale, I take that offensively. I do. I take it, I'm very offended that you would call my religion a fairy tale. If you are an atheist, I don't say your religion is a fairy tale. If you serve Satan or somebody else, I don't tell you that's a fairy tale. I don't demean you. I don't body shame nobody. I don't try and cause embarrassment, humiliation to anybody. But at some point, you have to step forward and defend yourself and your reputation. That's why I'm taking action against a certain individual, and it's in process now. Okay. because that individual hurt me lots of ways. So it's in process. And after the process is completed, however long that takes, then I will report the outcome to you and I will provide the public documents to that when it's done. And right now, this is where this sits, and I don't plan on it going no further. But if I keep being attacked and lied upon, I may have to for my reputation, and I may have to for my suffering and injury. That's not my plan. It wasn't my plan. Still isn't my plan to this very day. Still not my plan. Still not. And I've been humiliated and embarrassed by this man telling these lies. However, I still don't plan on at this point. That can change based on his behavior and his conduct and actions towards me publicly and otherwise. So I'm basically saying, tell the truth, leave me alone, go on about your business, and everything will be okay. But if you keep on, then I can, and I probably will, go get me a licensed attorney and look at my legal options and then make a decision if you keep on. And that's not a threat, that's a promise. You know, if you harass me or injure my reputation, I may have to do that. And if my medical bills keep going up, then I'm not going to feel as compassionate towards you when the money keeps coming out of my family budget to pay for something you did that's hurt me. You hurt me mentally and physically. I just couldn't fathom that you would do something and hurt me and have no remorse. That is beyond the pale to me. But I'm a loving man and I'm a Jesus man, and some people make fun of me for that. Well, I'd rather be made fun of for that than me not to say anything at all. Because Jesus said, if you're ashamed of me, I'll be ashamed of you. I'm not ashamed of Jesus, and I'm not ashamed of what I do. People try and shame me for it. Certain people make jokes about it. But all the people know that I've done nothing but go and help people over and over. And they know that I'm not confrontational. So if you're a government official and I come to where you are, and whether you're a constable, sheriff, marshal, chief of police, you're a first day cop on the job, you're a city clerk, you're a judge, you're a sanitation guy or gal, work on the road department, whatever your job is for the government and you're a servant, and I come and film you at work, to show people what you do and how it works, let them decide. Now, if you approach me and you want to engage me, then we'll have a dialogue. And I will prove that you are either a good, excellent, and awesome public servant or you're not. I'll let the people decide. I'll have a neutral exchange, post it, and then let it go out. That's how I've always been, in my opinion. You can disagree if you want to. That's your right. Welcome to America. But I don't believe in provoking. Now, Patrick's strategy is that he wants to look like the good guy in the situation, but psychologically challenge the other people, stand or do certain things that'll cause provocation and create argument where there is none. And once things are done, just keep rattling the cage. I try and just go see now, people say, well, that's his style. Well, he's asking for trouble going about it that way, in my opinion. Now, you know, that's he's kind of been really aggressive, very aggressive, and then he's laid back, over time. And somebody asked me the other day, they said, do you think that this money has changed him? I said, Yes and no. Honestly, yes and no. And the reason I say that is because if you're a good man or woman and you drink alcohol and you become intoxicated, you become more of who you are. So if you're a holly jolly guy and you drink or uh, smoke some cannabis or what have you, then you become more funny, more friendly, more lovable. If you're a butthole and a jerk, whatever term will suit you best, I don't want to offend nobody, and I apologize if saying that offended anybody. I apologize here and now. I should have chose better words. Please forgive me. Then, if you're a jerk, if you're a bad man or woman, when you drink, it amplifies that same personality. So if you're a psychopathic liar, let's see, psychopathical. Y'all know what I'm saying. A person that psychologically just won't tell the truth. You know, they just lie, 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 and it's just like they can't help it. They get amplified and just tell more lies. If they're aggressive, they just become more aggressive. If they're confrontational, they just become more confrontational. It amplifies them, good or bad. Either way, it amplifies them. So, say if I were to have some beers, okay? A lot of people have a lot of thoughts about Christians drinking alcohol. I don't have a problem, and I seriously believe God does not have a problem if it's in moderation, like somebody's had a few glasses of wine with supper, or they've had a few beers watching a football game. I think that's in moderation, and I think you're not doing it to get drunk, and you don't become drunk. I think it helps your digestion in your body, and I think it does help the your kidneys. Now, I'm not a doctor, uh, as in a medical doctor, so but I have heard many doctors prescribe 2 glasses of wine or 2 beers with meals with people that's had kidney problems. I've seen it and I've heard it. I was even told that one time when I had an infection in my kidneys, is not now, but after your antibiotics are over, having 1 to 2 beers with a meal or 1 or 2 glasses of wine when you're at home, not going to be driving, etc., will help your kidneys. Okay, but the point is, I'm a fun guy. I'm not a stick in the mud or nothing like that. And I don't believe in partying, but if you do, that's your business. But if I were to have 3 or 4 or 5 beers, especially in a short period of time, I would probably laugh more, joke more, and be a little silly because that's who I am. I'm a fun-loving, silly guy. But I wouldn't do that because that's a bad witness on me. And some people are a lot more strict, and then they wouldn't be able to accept my ministry. So I won't say I don't have anything ever, because on occasion here to there, I've had dinner and had a pina colada or a couple of beers, but I wasn't driving. And it was with my meal, and it was with my family. Okay. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite and do one thing and talk nasty about somebody else. So I'm trying to be open, honest, transparent, and share what I think I can. People ask me about documents all the time. Well, sometimes people take them documents and Photoshop them and twist them and turn them around, or they slant them and point them in a very negative direction. So that's why I don't share all these documents people want me to share with them. Now, I was stupid enough, even after all my years in law enforcement, I was stupid enough that I would have probably put several documents up if I didn't know about these trolls, and I didn't understand the internet. I understood some of its things, but I didn't understand the social media side of it. Okay. I probably would have put them up there. But thank God I just didn't think about it because I was trying to be an open and transparent guy. Now, a lot of things are public records and people have gone through them, and that's fine. That's okay. Some of them even try and say, oh, you went to sleep on duty. That's not right. There's a box there that's like for other, and there's like excessive absence, excessive tardiness, et cetera, whatever it is. And one of the categories is sleeping on duty, but I think that's listed at the top. So when it goes in the computer, it automatically appears, and there's the key word, appears, to say that. But when they do the drop down box, they have to check something, and they checked excessive absence. It was politics. People in corrections, law enforcement understand about politics probably better than anybody because they're used and misused in law enforcement corrections a lot. You know, they're some of the best people in the world, some of the worst people. They're in a very hard job and they become very good, loving people or very harsh people. But you know, maybe the same's true for plumbers, electricians, painters, etc. The only difference is they're not carrying a gun and not making life and death decisions. So we have to have the best of the best. And people ask me, why don't you audit your area? And I said, I haven't never seen or heard nothing bad going on around here. There's nothing to audit around here. In fact, Bama Camera went to op and did uh, video recordings, and everybody just waved at him or said, hey, or just went on about their business. Nobody asked him for IDs or what he's doing or nothing. He acted professional and they treated him professional. He went to the county jail, videotaped. Nobody said a word to him. I was there with him. I said, we can go there, but I don't think anything's going to happen. We got some good cops around here. You know, I like them. I support them. I help them. I believe in them. You know, uh, now down the road in another county, it's not exactly that away. It's a different mix. Now, I'm not calling out no names, but I have addressed the situations there. So anyway, I don't know exactly how long this has gone, but it's gone a while. But I had a chance to get the truth off my chest, to speak my truth, which is the truth in reality. What really happened. And hopefully y'all will like it, you will enjoy it, and y'all say, oh, now we get the Paul Harvey, the rest of the story situation as to what really happened. And most people will be apparent immediately. Oh my God, they'll put it together because they've watched this man and things he's said and done. And it is a shame, just a shame. And I'm upset with certain people because they said, the only reason I want Patrick is because I'm waiting for him to crash and burn. I said, why would you wish that on him? Even now that I'm dismayed, bewildered, insulted, embarrassed, and humiliated, I don't want him to crash and burn. I don't want nothing bad to happen to him. He's still a man. And Selena's with him, and she would get hurt too. And she's a very good lady. Very good lady. She's been nothing but kind, sweet, nice to me and my wife. She's very kind. And she's always addressed me properly. She's always looked out for my benefit, and I've always tried to look out for her benefit. So, in my opinion, ladies don't come no better than my mother, my wife, and Selena. I mean, she's good people. Now, she's, in a difficult situation because she's in love and has a boyfriend that has problems. But, when you're in love, you're in love. Love is blind. You know, I pray that Patrick would change his ways and that he would mature and tell the truth. Patrick audits more than anybody. And I wish him success. I just want him to mature. I want him to grow up. I want him to be responsible and accountable for his actions. I don't want him to lie to get donations. When he don't need them, he don't need them. But he's just learned this behavior of begging. Now, if there is a time to be called e-begging, when you don't need money and you're begging like you're destitute or you're leaving that frame of mind, that's lying. I want him not to lie to people and e-beg like that. Now, he has literally run out of money a few times, but that was his own doings. I mean, he had a lot, he just went through it. And don't get me started on what he did with it. I wasn't there personally with him. I know what he said he did with it, but that's beside the point. I'm not trying to embarrass him or humiliate him. I'm just trying to say he did run out of money a few times. And when he did, and he e-begged, it was for some trips, and he did use it for the trip. Not this trip, but in the past, or doing certain things. He did use it to buy some food for him and Selena, or him and Selena and Nomad. But this is the BUT. When he did get money, he still kept on, and so he makes way, way more than the average guy. And so if he put even 3,000, 4,000 a month towards auditing and just set it aside towards gas and maintenance of his car and everything, then he could still do the exact same audits and nobody ever give him a dollar, and they still come out just as good. This just gives him, if people pay for all the auditing 100%, which they have been, and more, so every time the audit's over, there's still money left over. It's just, that's the way it is. So he gets to audit for free, travel the country for free, and I'm not begrudging him that. If you want to give him money and support him 100%, please do. But just know that it's not necessary. Now, like me, I'm on a fixed income. I don't have a retirement. I had a small retirement that I cashed out probably 6 years ago. I mean, well, it was pretty decent, but not that great. Like these people that get these $100,000 or $50,000 or what. It wasn't nothing like that. No, no. It was enough to help me put a big down payment, a huge down payment on a used truck that I had to keep paying for another year to get it paid off and to pay a few of my family's bills. Because I worked at some little cities that had their own internal retirement, and so I would get what I got for while I was there, but that might be 3,000 or 8,000 or 10,000 here and yonder over the years that I cashed out to pay a house off or pay bills off or do something, but there wasn't nothing just substantial. And people say, why do you go to these different jobs? Sometimes it's politics, sometimes it's small town and you just get tired of the same old, and you move down the road. Or usually they're paying more and better benefits. Maybe you got some friends there and you decide it's good for you. Same reason you do it if you're an attorney, a doctor, you're a plumber, electrician. Some companies paying better. Sometimes they pay equal or a little less, but the work environment is so vastly different. You change for your own sanity and your own mental well-being. So I've been through all of that, you know. So I didn't never say I was the perfect cop. I don't think there's no such a thing as a perfect cop. But I was an honest, hardworking cop, and I tried to understand the law. And then when police go out, it's called minimum state standards. Minimum, which means you get across the cusp. That it's not supposed to be the end, that is the beginning of your lifelong training. So I used to go to the law library and study. I would sit with judges and ask them questions, attorneys and ask them questions. And sometimes I would go out to lunch with them. I didn't play golf. I rode on golf carts around, but I didn't play golf. And so I would pick up some sayings, I would pick up words, and I would ask them about it, and they would explain it to me. So I was kind of going through my own law school, so to speak. It was my own specific law school where I was trying to learn everything they learned in law school a little at a time from all these people and from experience out on the road and being in courts and stuff. And I think I did a really good job. And I think I could probably sit for a bar somewhere. I could probably sit and pass it. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. And, I don't know what the percentage is. And some people told me it's 50%, some said it's 20%, but there's a certain number of people, depending on the state and how hard it is, that have to take it or a section of it over. Now, all the tests I did in law enforcement stuff, I just pass, 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 pass. And they were a high pass because they were graded, but then eventually they changed them to pass or fail. They didn't want to give no grade because that was being used against police officers in court, so they just changed it. Just like on the firing range, they used to give scores. Then they changed to pass or fail in lots of places. I can't tell you about every state. I only know where I was at. That's all I can say. And then they changed rules, so maybe they're different now. I don't know. I can only tell you my own personal firsthand experience. So if you like me, and if you want me to go do some audits as soon as I get well and, at least well enough to walk around and go do them in some level of reasonable comfort, it may be another week, maybe another month. I don't know. I'm probably going to go get more injections in my back. And I had seen the chiropractor 17 times before Patrick got here to get adjusted to the point that I was in good shape. And he talks about past accident. Yeah, I was run over by a commercial vehicle many years ago, and it gave me a lot of problems. But, you rehab, and then you go back to life. Well, I rehabbed and went back to life. Well, when I fell, I had injuries. They treated the injuries. It took me about 4, 5, or 6 weeks to see that doctor 17 times and see my other doctor for injections, etc., and do all these x-rays to get my treatment, to find out what's wrong, get my treatment. And I did get my treatment, and I got better from an accident. Not an on purpose where you jump on somebody without their consent and then try to say, well, they said they asked. No. But anyway, it'll take time to heal up from that. I was healed up. Okay. So this was a brand new injury. And, I'm not lashing out. Like I said, I'm not mad. I'm not angry. Now, when it initially happened, I was very mad and very angry. And I said so. But I was still cool. And I was still willing, if he would use some of them donations to get a wheelchair, to go to the state capitol, rent one for a day. And then I could go by and see a nearby clerk. But when he wouldn't take me home, And he didn't ever tell me to go home. He kept begging me, and then he started turning around. Well, I'll get you a wheelchair. I'll get you a wheelchair. He changed his mind. He was going to do anything for me to stay. So he never told me to go home. He tried to get me to stay. But you know, once you're not only injured and you're hurt, and somebody won't take responsibility for it, and then want you to stay, things change. Things change. I'm not a 21-year-old kid. You know, I'm a grown man. I got a family. Um, he hasn't reached that point. I hope he does. You know, I offered long ago for him and Selena to get married, but you know, he doesn't commit to things. And when he does commit to them, then there's crawfishing and twisting and turning and, you know, changing his mind over and over and over, being wishy-washy until he comes on YouTube and says it several times, and then people call him on it. Then he has to do it then. Anyway, let's see. It says I'm almost an hour. Well, I hope you've enjoyed my hour-long explanation and my diatribe of events. If you did, that's fantastic. If you didn't, I'm sorry, and I apologize to you now that I didn't get to the point quick enough or the way you wanted me to. And this isn't being mean, but if you don't like the way I talk and the way I say it or how fast I do, you're absolutely free to go get your own channel. And you're free to go do your audits and do your speed talk or whatever. And if you think I'm fat and you don't look at me because I'm fat, then don't watch. You know, you go to a gym and you lose lots of weight and whatever. Now, I think, let's see, I think I've lost 40 pounds. And that was for my own health. And I had been losing over a period of time, and I'm still losing. It's slow, it's gradual. It has to do with what I eat and how much I eat and how much exercise I do. Now that I'm injured, I can't do any. When I was injured before, I couldn't do any. So it's kind of at a stalemate. So whether it's 1 week or a month or whenever I go back out, then I'm sure I'll probably have to have injections in my back, and I will have to have some medication, most likely. I don't know for sure. I'm just guessing when I go out next time, unless it's a ways off. But I will go back. I'm not going to stop because all I'm doing is reporting the truth, and I'm in a neutral position. So I go into reverse or drive or park based on the environment. And depending on what state I am in and what the laws say as to how I will conduct myself, meaning I'll always conduct myself in a lawful manner. If I'm arrested, it'll be because somebody chose to arrest me unlawfully. I won't do things wrongly, you know. So all I can tell you is thank you. God bless you and your families. Have a great day. Whatever your religion is, or the religion of non-religion, or atheist, or whatever, have a good day to all you all. To the people of the Muslim religion that watch me, howdy to y'all. The Jewish people that watch me, howdy to y'all. The Buddhists that watch me, howdy to y'all. And all the other religions that I don't know by name. Hello to all of y'all. Respect to all of you all. And that's just the kind of guy I am. So have a great day and have a great life. And I pray many blessings upon y'all. Till next time, bye-bye.